everyone, Ms. Westman here with kind of a review and to look forward to right here. You're about 2/3 way done with the notes, so I just want to take a break and talk about what you've seen so far and give you a preview of what's coming next. So if you have this sheet of paper that you printed out, great. If not, I'd suggest getting a notebook, piece of paper out and writing down what we're about to go over. So far, we have reflected across the x-axis. And if you notice, after watching the video and doing an example, you may have noticed that the y values switch signs every single time. So if it starts as a -3, it becomes a +3. If it starts as a -1, it becomes a +1. If it starts as a -4, it becomes a +4. And so we can use kind of like this generic rule. You could think of it as kind of like a cheat. Instead of having to count to the line, you can just change the values of your y. Sorry, you can change your y value sign. That's what I'm trying to say here. Y values change the sign. Okay, so this is kind of the shortcut way to reflect across the x-axis. Similarly, we've seen the y-axis. We counted up to the line, kept going, but there's a shortcut. Okay, so if you notice, for reflecting across the y-axis, it's our x values that change. 2 becomes -2, 3 becomes -3, 4 becomes -4. So for reflecting across the y-axis, it is our x values that change the sign. So there's our shortcut for the y-axis. Then we saw how to reflect across lines that were x equals, y equals. And there's no shortcut here. We still have to draw the line. We still have to count up to the line and go past it. We still have to do it that way. It's still equal distance. No shortcut there. Similarly, with our y equals line, up at the top on the back here, you have to draw the line and count up to the line. There's just no shortcut here, okay? It's still equal distance, okay? Let's talk about what's coming up in the next two videos. In the next two videos, now our line of reflection is going to be diagonal. So for this first one, our line of reflection is y equals x. And in the later videos, we'll talk about how to graph the line and what to do with the points and things. But I wanted to share with you the shortcut before we do those videos. If you notice, a becomes a prime. So 2, 4 becomes 4, 2. -2, 2 becomes 2, -2. -1, 0 becomes 0, -1. What happened to each of the points? That's right. The x and the y value swapped places. So all we have to do for this one is switch the x and the y. So the 2 becomes the 4 and the 4 becomes 2, right? So we just switch the order of our x and our y. The second line we're going to talk about is the y equals -x. So now our diagonal is going negative direction. And in this video later, we'll talk about how to graph it and what to do with the points. But I want to show you what happens for the shortcut here. When we reflect across the -x line, y equals -x, we switch places, but we also change the signs. So it's not just 4, 2 now, it's -4, -2. So there's two steps here. We have to switch x and y, and we have to change the sign. And in the video, we'll talk about those rules as well. Again, you need to go back and pause the video. Make sure you write down these rules before you keep going.